So it's that time again, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We are here for another episode of the Valley of Spirits, which we're coming at you from Wayfarer's Rest in Silvermoon, where they may have conjured some of the drinks here and there, but it's got me convinced anyway. It tastes good, some good drinks, some good food. So Nick, what do we have coming up for the folks this week?
Well, we're going to dive deeper into the 30th Direct. Some news has come out more about what to expect. And that's not all. Stick around for the Tavern Talk, where we're going to give our opinions about that as well.
Yep.
We're kind of keeping news to be more wham bam.
Wham bam, streamlined.
Yep, makes it easier for everybody. But let's kick off this week then. Jordan, tell us what you got done this week.
So I did not do any rating. I kind of wanted to, but part of it was, we're still making our push to heroic, so
Yeah.
it's been a little bit of, I've been kind of mixed on it, but I did have a great week in keys. I did actually a 6 on the Evoker, which was wild, on my
There you
healer.
go.
Yeah, my healer's pumping. Yeah, we ended up having Biff. Brother Biff came out a little bit for a couple of keys, which was sweet. And then actually Nick and I did some low keys on his prop pally, which went very well. Very smooth. We
Getting
got
good at tanking.
Yeah, and we did the affix. Somebody always was blowing up the orbs. It was sweet. It was a good low end experience. Yep.
Yeah, that was insane.
We always got all 10.
Gone.
Always got all 10. Every single time. No problems. So excellent groups we got in for sure. I did play an absolute cubic buttload of PvP, which now in the Tavern Talk section, we do have a dedicated PvP moment.
I did allow one.
Yeah, we did allow a PvP moment. We allowed a PvP moment.
Sorry, my bad.
And so I'll talk about it more, definitely, if you're interested in the Tavern Talk, but I did play a ton of PvP on both the Mage and the Evoker in the last week. I did end up doing a couple of delves, too. Nick was there for one of them. I think we did one, right?
One or two.
One or two, somewhere in there.
My kid woke up during one.
Yeah.
So we had to call it.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool to, I don't know, they're just fun. The pace of them's really cool. If you turn them up, they're pretty difficult. So, especially because we were running your prot, so it was good gear for it, for sure. Lots of fun. So, Nick, what did you get up to this week?
Well, just like you, Jordan, didn't do any rating. Did run a few mythics with the prop pally early in the week by myself, just to start knocking that dust off from, it's been, I don't know how many years since I tanked. But then ended up running the rest with you that for later in the week. Then I ended up just pretty much doing WoW 20th anniversary. Got a lot of stuff done. Pulled out 3 more mounts. It's been kind of a low chill week for me. Mainly focused on the prop pally. Did a little bit with the ret pally, but not a ton, because I've been needing to bring up the protection paladin a lot quicker. A lot farther than the ret's at like 610 or something like that. So she's been fine, just chilling.
No, the ret murders. Good murder.
Oh yeah, but
very good murder.
Jordan, that wraps up my week. Why don't we move on to the coming week and what events we got coming up?
So we do have. It says they're gonna continue time walking. If you guys remember last week in our news episode, I was pretty confident they were gonna bring Wrath out. Was actually what I said. They brought classic dungeons out. Is what they did. So my expectation is now maybe Wrath. I don't know, just, double down, right? Double or nothing, right? So this is Wrath week, right?
Or they give us BC again, who knows?
Yeah, I gotta imagine they gotta be moving forward, because they don't want you to have Classic every week. So
it would get a little boring.
Yeah, and so we'll see. I think in a way having the Classic ones around kind of teaches them an interesting stat. Like they us getting used to a dungeon makes a lot of people good at it. Just inherently. So I think having time walking so far apart from each season is, I think it's unrealistic to expect a new player to learn these dungeons in that time and then remember them 8 weeks from now or whenever they do it again, right? So we'll see. I'm on the time walking always train, so I like this.
Same.
This has been sweet.
Especially because I think they have like 2 or 3 mounts with the WoW 20th. I think it's 2. There's 2 mounts for 5,000 time walking tokens available in the 20th. And then I don't know if they're adding it when it comes to, because I haven't been back to one of those vendors at all. Where normally if it's, Wrath, there's a specific person for Wrath, transmogs, or there's always a mount with them as well. So there's chances to get more mounts too.
Yeah. So time walking continues. We'll see what that has. There is going to be the Battleground bonus event, which I'm excited to. I mean, I've been playing on my healer, so I'll be playing some Battlegrounds for sure. But it is going to become Deep Wind Dunk. Comp Stomp's over, but now we have essentially WoW basketball, so to speak. You go get the balls from a position, and you can like take a long shot or run it in for what they call a dunk, hence Deep Wind Dunk. And it's pretty goofy. Just don't take it too seriously, guys. We're all here to have fun and play a game of ball, right? So I think it's pretty goofy. 20th anniversary continues, and no more World Quest bonus event. So that's what you have coming for you this week. So there's an interview with a couple of lead designers at World of Warcraft. Some WoW devs that come out, and we'll have a link in the description to the video. But there is an interview we wanted to kind of cover because this is a lot of big news. They talked about a lot of really cool things, and we're definitely taking a minute to talk about it. So, Nick, we had Delves.
Yeah.
Was one of the first things they talked about.
Yep, so Blizzard stated that during the design of Delves, they were planning on changing the companion each season, but due to the thought that a player is going to put all this time into, brand, like I think mine's up to like 30, right?
Right.
So instead of changing that out every season, because then you only have 8 weeks to build it up and doing a preferably a rug pull, what they're actually going to do is they've talked about giving us a new companion in Midnight Release. They did not state that it was going to replace brand entirely, or if there's 2 companions we now have, but we're going to get a new one come midnight.
Yep.
They also stated that down the road we're going to get a tank spec for brand, so that way healers can actually now do it.
Mages.
Yes.
And mages don't have to kite their ass around the whole dungeon. They can just miss all the mechanics and murder. Like, I'd love to just be able to do the mechanics and murder. It'd be sweet.
Yep. In regards for Delves and rewards too, it was mentioned that they're wanting to keep a barrier between running Delves and group content. The rewards for Delves should not outperform the rewards from group content such as dungeons and raids, but still be rewarding for players conducting Delves. In addition, it was also mentioned that the on-ramp for Delves to Mythic track should place you hopefully at a +4 to +6 range. It was mentioned that it's specifically the gearing that should make it possible for you. If you've never done it before, you may still have a rough time. And then we're also going to get, for the last bit of Delves, we're going to get updated mechanics that are more goblin themed across all Season 1 Delves, plus with the 2 new ones they talked about. They also touched on how Xal'atath is going to fit into the 11.1 storyline. With it being that the goblins are pretty much comic relief for those in World of Warcraft, then Xal'atath is vastly more serious. The question was around how are we going to kind of get that mix going. And per the interview that we watched, the goblins have worked on some things historically that are shaped like plates. That there was a dragon that they tried to destroy the world, and they were hammering plates on him, and there were certain artifacts we went after to end that dragon. That's not verbatim, but it's close. So, and my thought is that Xal'atath might utilize the goblins in order to fix the Dark Heart after Aurelia shot at it and did chip it a bit, and then it caused her to retreat real quick. If you run,
well, we don't have to get too much into theory crafting. There's if you want to learn more, definitely there's some little hints there.
That was just the first thing that popped into my head when I think it was the lead game dev goes, oh yeah, they've worked on plates before. I'm like, oh, that thing's shaped like a plate.
There's a couple of there's a couple of things.
Yeah, Jordan, you wanted to hit on the new mount and the flying and Undermine?
Yes. So I guess let's get the bad news out of the way. They intended for Undermine to not be a zone you could fly within. They have made it clear you will not be able to skyride in Undermine. I think it's good that they have decided to give you a mount instead. And this is going to be a very interesting mount. This is going to be a mount, and they talked about some of the customizations, like you can turn it to Bilgewater mode if you want to be part of the Bilgewater cartel, for example, for this thing. So it's kind of cool. They have some customizations. They said it's not going to be like it was for the dragon skywriting mounts in Dragonflight. They said it won't be like there's a term they have for it. I can't remember what they call the pedestal.
I was just going to say the pedestal.
I'm sure in the beginning it'll be like an NPC you talk to that you can change your build and stuff. I think it'll be something like that.
I think it's just going to be sliders. That's what it sounds like.
And we'll see what they decide to ultimately present it with. But you will have to do a certain amount of the campaign to get to the Undermine in order to actually unlock it and use it. They asked the question, do you think it's going to be a big thing in the future? And they said we'll see how feedback was pretty much the short answer of that. So if you look at the longevity of this item, they want to see how we feel about it, or if it's like super out of place here. So there could be a world where if we like this and they do creative things, there is skywriting and go-karting, right?
Which is going to be sweet.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting because I talked with Nick. Well, I just think it's interesting. It provides value to the ground again. If it's faster than skywriting, if you can do it, right?
Or even comparable.
You're like a rally driver, right?
Yeah.
Like.
I mean, I still use some of my ground mounts because I get like I don't want to. I miss them. Like there were some cool ones that I have. I'm gonna keep using them.
They did say they have nothing they could confirm on any sort of player versus player racing. So racing against other players isn't something they are focusing on at this point in time. They do have, he said, skywriting like flying challenges, except for it. So there will be races and times and medals and reverses and etc. So I'm interested to see what they do with it. They pretty much gave it an open end, like this is kind of like a quick little run. And then if you guys really like it and want it back in the future, then maybe we'll do it kind of thing. So interested to see where they go with it. I don't know if it's going to be groundbreaking, but enough about the cart. I could go on for days about it. And so we'll wait for a slower period for that. More news to get on, right, Nick? I think there's a new dungeon.
Yep, there is a new dungeon coming. And what they had said that it's not going to be a mega dungeon. The story that they wanted to put with it fits more of a regular dungeon. And that it is just going to drop right into the pool right away. So second week it's going to come out after the patch for all levels. And that's just because, again, they wanted that story to fit in there and then just let us go right into it and enjoy that story. So that's pretty much the new dungeon. Jordan, there was some mention on a new Mythic format, Crest system, and maybe a new character that we get to play as maybe down the line.
There is, a couple of little whispers. I'm not in a super great place to talk about the top end, which he, developer, did. But it's just. He is talking about the experience from 11/12s and onward, like the real rating pushers. Like he called them pushers, I believe was the term he used.
Yeah, I think so.
And he did address that there's a stark difference in between an 11 and a 12, an incredibly stark difference, and he does think that should be a little smoother. He didn't really say a whole lot than that. He just kind of addressed some of the problems with keys. They did say that crests tend to work on a more experienced community. It's a very good fix for the people who can understand the names of the crests, for example, but it's not a very intuitive, necessarily easy for a new person to understand what all these tiers of crests are in your currency tab. Like how they used to convey the use of these would just throw it in your inventory with all your other trash. Right. You have to hover over it and see what it's for. It'll say this is used in upgrading items or something, right?
Yep.
And so now they don't have that because it's in the currency tab. And so I think there's definitely some avenue for them to explore there. We have a new character. So there's a little bit of hints. They kind of gave us the...
it's like a wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing.
Yeah, like I think they're not sure what they're going to make playable characters from this point forward 100%.
Yeah.
And so I think the fact that we asked this question is going to be good to help on the development team, but they did bring in a new playable race in the War Within, so I imagine we are on an expansion off a new playable race.
Yeah.
I imagine we'll get one with The Last Titan, I believe it's going to be called.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just make sure we keep giving them feedback. We want, whatever we want. At this point, I feel like I'm happy with all the races, but
Yeah.
people want another one. I mean, all right.
I am fairly comfortable with the
There's
amount
a
of
lot.
races.
There's a lot on both sides, really.
I mean, coming from what was it, 5 on each side?
4 on each side for a total of 8, yep.
And now we have how many?
A bunch.
Yeah, I don't remember the number.
I believe we have more races than classes. Yep, definitely. So
yeah, but anyway, Jordan, why don't we keep going forward? What do we got for esports? I know we just finished up watching some grand finals, right?
We did. We got to watch a good PvP battle together.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Europe. I'm going to talk about how ILTU was in 7th place seed for this tournament, and they came all the way back. They won every game in the gauntlet, all the way back to come into being one of the 4 people that go into the grand finals. And then they made it all the way to the finals, because the funny part is they swept Echo, right?
Yeah.
And then put them in the loser bracket, and then ILTU had no problems, which, by the way, the joke is this stands for Imagine Losing to Us. Which is kind of funny.
Know that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just for context, yeah.
I love
it. So Echo, I guess, got mad, and they had to imagine losing to them, so they came back and swept every single game.
Oh, they did? I missed that one.
All the way back to the top.
Oh,
from the loser bracket, yep.
Did you watch that grand finale?
I did not. I was I was doing something, unfortunately.
No, you're good. I don't know if you had the chance to view it. I missed it.
No, I did watch the gauntlets all the way. I watched ILTU look dominant. By the way, preservation of Oker. Let's go, Oker. But they were kind of a one-trick. And even in the interview where they interviewed him at the end of it, they kind of pretty much said he was a one-trick. So I thought that was funny. So in North America, it's a little more interesting. I would have my favorite to win this would have been the move. They didn't. It ended up being Silk Tigers made it most of the way through the gauntlet, which was a 5 seed, so a little bit, of an underdog for sure. And they got immediately murdered by Welcome to the Jung, as everybody does, it seems. And so then the move got put down by the Jung, made it through the loser bracket, came back and got down by the Jung again. It is... the craziest part was the comps. Like, it was ultimately everybody ended up doing the same thing by the end of it, but in the beginning, everybody was doing different stuff. And the only person to stick with it all the way through in either of these was, ILTU.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of interesting. Definitely worth a watch. I wish I had more time for the European bracket. In fact, after this, I'm going to go back and watch what Echo did so well. So you guys should too. But anyway, I believe that brings us to the end.
It does.
Of our new segment. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And Nick, would you send us away?
Can do. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Valley of Spirits. We're your hosts, Jordan and Nick. Your go-to Horde players. Join us in Dornagal on the Mal'Ganis server and look up our guild, the Electric Boogaloo, for some epic adventures. Stay connected with us on social media. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or X as is known these days, by searching the Valley of Spirits podcast. Don't miss out on an episode, and follow us on Spotify or anywhere you find podcasts. I've done it 100 times and I still mess up once in a while. Check out our YouTube for additional content not found in our podcast platform. Until next time, may your quest be glorious and your loot be plentiful. And as always,
for the Horde.